playoff picture was blown up after Kevin Harvick snapped his 65-race losing streak at Michigan. Who could have said that we would be saying that today? Plus, with that knocks Martin Truex Jr. out of the playoffs with only 3 races remaining. We're going to break down all the situations that now are in play. That's all coming up on the Pedal. And welcome back to another video. My name is Cameron Simpson and we have an amazing video for you today. I don't even really know where to start this video because we have so many different things that happened within the last couple minutes, in the last couple hours in this NASCAR race at Michigan. It's hard to keep track of them all, and we have a major storylines. I guess let's start with the biggest of the big, and that is Kevin Harvick going to victory lane for the first time in 65 races. Congratulations to Kevin Harvick and team, and obviously all Kevin Harvick fans. I think we can all apologize because none of us saw this coming. I didn't see Kevin Harvick picking up the puzzle, picking up the pieces. When we heard Steve Letarte on NBC consistently say, I don't think Ford, the ovals, I don't think they'll win again. And yet again, they do win. And what a big win for Kevin Harvick. Not only because it snapped his 65 race losing streak, it also locks him into the playoffs with 15 drivers now locked in and only 1 spot remains. Well, it gets a little dicey because there's still 3 races left. So that 1 spot could become another spot. So like Kevin Harvick might be not in the playoffs, right? He could be out. A guy like Chase Briscoe or a guy like a lower guy like Austin Cindric could be out of these playoffs if we get 2 more winners. It's very, I don't know how they're going to work that, and I really haven't seen any conversation about that yet, so I get that point of it. It is tough because of the 16 people. Only 16 get in, and right now 15 are locked in. So there's really, arguably, 1 spot left in these playoffs. So, again, Kevin Harvick, the closer, comes in clutch and closes it out. So I think we should start this race off by looking at the playoff picture. Let's go to road to the playoffs right away. So to my left, you can see that it gets pretty dicey right here below the cutoff line. Only a little changes happened on the other side, but mainly it's all pretty much the same, besides the fact that Kevin Harvick goes to 15th in the playoffs points. Ryan Blaney is in 16th with 19 points ahead of Martin Truex Jr. Both these guys are now in the hunt for the victory. In regular season points, Ryan Blaney, I want to say second. I think he's second in regular season points, and Martin Truex Jr. is 4th in regular season points. But in playoff points, they fall behind. And this is the race right now for the playoffs. These guys can point their way in. One bad weekend for one of these two is done. And going next weekend into Richmond, we know how good Toyotas are at Richmond. But Ryan Blaney's also very, very good at Richmond. At least in the spring of this year, he was very good at Richmond. So it's going to be hard to tell who's going to be able to win this race. I mean, look, Ryan Blaney, I think one of them is going to win. I really do, within these next 3 days. And there's 3 totally different racetracks. A short track, a road course, and a super speedway to wrap up our season. Our short track at Richmond, Watkins Glen, who has had 2 first-time winners already this season, have been produced from a road course, and Watkins Glen is notorious for first-time winners. We've had that happen many times. And Daytona is anyone's race. Literally anyone in the field could win that race. Anybody in the top 30 in points could win their way in to these playoffs. So that's another factor. There's a lot of different things going on here in these playoffs. And I look at it right now, Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. don't necessarily need to win. There's only a 19-point gap. So they can fix that point gap in a race or two. So neither of them need to win necessarily, but they need to be on top of their game if they want to point their way in. And obviously Ryan Blaney a little more comfortable than Martin Truex Jr., but not by much. So that's the playoffs right now as we look at it. These guys below the cutoff on like Bubba Wallace, who finished second in today's race, needs to win. And so guys that are on the right side of this playoff grid, like your Chastains, your Byrons, your Hamlins, your Elliots, Logano, Reddick, Larson, those guys are all decent right now. Your Busch brothers, Bowman, Cindric, Harvick now. But this win just puts a big wrench into whatever we thought could come out of these playoffs. A bomb has just went off on the playoff grid, and we'll see who can rise from the rubble and take that final spot. So that is the road to the playoffs. We'll be watching that very closely within the next couple weeks as we continue to find out who's going to be in what position in the next coming days. Okay, so that's road to the playoffs. Now let's get into finishing results. That's what I want to do. I blanked out for a second. All right, here are your finishing results for today's race. Obviously, Kevin Harvick, winner, 65 losing streak, snapped. Great for him, great for his team. And great for the blue ovals as Ford continues to dominate at Michigan. Not letting up at all. Continue to dominate. Very good for Harvick, and a great job for that. In second place, Bubba Wallace finished second. He called it a failure. Very hard on himself in his post-race interview and comments. Obviously, we know how emotional Bubba Wallace is, and he is always hard on himself. So we hate to see it and hate to hear it, but, you know, that's what he thinks. He thinks that this race is a failure, and he can do way better than that. And if that is true and they can do better, I can't wait to figure out if they can win. Trust me, Bubba Wallace has shown the most consistent speed of his career these last couple of weeks. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but again, like I said last week in one of my videos, I'm not against a good conspiracy theory. No caution for Bubba Wallace in second place when Daniel Suarez was sparking down the racetrack and there was debris. I saw debris, but NASCAR said there wasn't. But still, no, I don't mind the no caution. But for a conspiracy, you know, if it was a Hendrick car in second place, would that caution go out? If it was Chase Elliott in second place, is that caution going out? I think so. I mean, how is that fair for the rest of the field? If Bubba Wallace is in second place, and they're not going to throw that caution out, but Chase Elliott would. I guarantee you if Chase Elliott was in second place, that caution is going out. I mean, any other driver, probably no caution. Like, Wallace, Busch, Hamlin, those guys, Chastain, there probably wouldn't be a caution. But a most popular driver, of course we need a caution, right? I don't know, it sparks me a little bit. Sparks a conversation, that is for sure. Denny Hamlin finished third in this race. We'll talk a little bit about the Toyotas here, because Toyotas were advertised to have one of the best days ever today. The Toyotas were supposed to have an amazing day. It was supposed to be great. Kyle Busch gets caught up in the big one, finishes 36th in the race because of a pit strategy that he was trying to go a little different. Caught up in a huge crash. Bubba Wallace and Denny Hamlin recover. They had probably the best days. I mean, what else was the other thing I was talking about? The 20 car of Bell made just a stupid block on Chastain. This one wasn't Chastain's fault. Caused himself to crash. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but that definitely gives me a little concern about what are we doing here, guys? Logano finished fourth. The 23 car of Bubba Wallace had a really tough time passing Logano. If he passed him like 10 laps earlier, they probably could have chased. I don't know. It could have been a different race. It could have most definitely been a different race. Ryan Blaney in fifth. Right behind him is the guy he's chasing in the point standings, Martin Truex Jr. Kyle Larson finished in 7th. Eric Jones, top 10. Obviously, he's also in a must-win. He seemed to have a pretty fast car today. Not enough to bring it to victory lane. Alex Bowman in 9th. And the rookie, remember, in this 45 car, Ty Gibbs is replacing. He is replacing Kurt Busch while he's out on concussion and finished in the top 10. Warning for the rest of the field. I gotta tell you, that's a warning for the rest of the field. Who knows how many more? I heard Brad Doherty talking about it. He's like, all right, we don't really know how much longer most of these guys are going to be in the field for. You know, Truex could have 1 more year left. Next year could be Truex's last season. Okay? This year could be Kyle Busch's last season. The seamless move right now for any of those guys that might be leaving JGR is Ty Gibbs. He's proven he can do it. He's proven he can do it in great equipment. And this is just me being unbiased because I'm a Kyle Busch fan. But he seems like he can do it, and he's proven that so far. Chase Elliott finished 11th. William Byron in 12th. Austin Dillon in 13th. Ty Dillon, the brothers, finished 13th, 14th. And Brad Keselowski in his hometown track falls 15 spots short from getting that win again. Notable winners outside the top 15. Chastain and Suarez, 24th and 25th. That's a horrible day. That's just tough luck. They were running really good, and that's just really bad luck. Christopher Bell finished 26th. What else? After that block, and Kyle Busch and Austin Cindric involved in a pretty nasty crash. Finished 36th and 37th. Alright, that is that. Now let's, what else is there? There's so much more to talk about, and I mean, we keep looking at the point standings and how this is all going to add up in the later runs of these races. But going into Richmond, you know, the 19 car, always good at Richmond. The 12 car, very good at Richmond. So both of these cars are going to continue. Their long battle against each other will not stop this weekend. It will keep going. And I hope that... Who do I want to make it, honestly? Obviously, I like both of these drivers. One of them's not going to make it in. And I kind of hope it's not Truex. I want to see Truex in the playoffs, but you never know who it's going to be. So that's a big deal. All right, let's put this race on hit the gas or hit the brakes. Back at Michigan, a sell-out campgrounds crowd this weekend is what we were hearing. That's great. A big crowd stuck around after an hour-and-a-half rain delay. That's always a damper on a race, no pun intended. But that is kind of where it goes, and whatever. And you had a pretty large fan base stick around. The racing was we heard could race like a super speedway. I didn't really see that. I saw very normal Michigan. So I was fine with it. I liked the racing all in all. Restarts were very excited. We did see a couple scary wrecks, but restarts were exciting. But eventually, if you were in clean air, you had the advantage. It was very hard to pass in dirty air. It was very hard to pass when the guy in front of you had clean air, and you had to kind of search around. So I'm going to give this race a hit the gas. I'm going to give it a B-. It was pretty exciting. Storylines were really there, and NBC, without Rick Allen again, they did their own drivers-only thing. That makes me think that they might be headed that way to an analyst-only thing. Look, I didn't mind it today, but it did feel a little awkward without a Rick Allen in there, just bringing you all the stats. Like, hearing it from Dale Jr. sounds like the stats are kind of being fed to him. I get it. If that's the way they want to go, I can live with it, trust me. But I would rather see a Rick Allen guy. You want to see a Rick Allen guy there who studies this their whole career, who is literally went to college to be a sports announcer. These drivers did not. You want a guy that's been experienced, has a degree, has studied this his whole life to be in that role, and that's kind of where I think it needs to be. That's just me. That's where I kind of stand on that. Maybe that's the fact that I want to be a sports announcer kind of coming out of me, but let's see. Who knows? Thank you all so much for watching this video. I will see you. I don't know if it's going to be later on in the week. I don't know when it's going to really be because I will not be in studio next week. So we will have an on-the-road video, I think. Don't know when, don't know how, but we will have an on-the-road video. But this week, I don't know if this will be the only video. I don't know. I'm going to try to figure that out for the long run. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone. Peace out.